Lots of different styles to choose from. Whether you're renovating or tiling a new house, Builders Paradise has what you need. Oh, and remember, we are open all day Saturday to serve you better. Call them today at 466-4938.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Thought That Get Results. I'm Everett Weber Herbert, and as per usual, we are here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to Let's Talk Program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195 Charlestown in Nevis, or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. And by the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Again, thank you all very much for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. With regards to your participation in the show, we encourage you to call in on the numbers listed, 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question or comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that we are well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves, and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem not within our broadcast standards. Again, thank you all for joining us. This is your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. You can also follow us live on our Facebook page, follow us via YouTube for the video stream, and of course our website www.vaughanradio.com. Tonight, we've got two segments to the program. First segment, we've got a group of young persons. They're here to promote a new community organization aimed at getting the community and bringing the community together. And they've got a mega event coming up soon in which they like to tell us all about it, and they would like you to participate in it. So why don't we do this? Let's go to the studios where they're hanging out with us, and the first thing we're going to do, in any order, we're going to ask them to introduce themselves, their organization, and then we get into the discussion as to exactly what they're doing. But first off, let me just congratulate them for a young set of young folks coming together, putting their energies in a positive way, and let us see how much we can help and encourage them. So let's go to Studio B and say good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, why don't we start closest to me here?
Hey, good night. I'm Jerry Jeffers, a member of the Link Promotion.
Good evening. I'm Gary Griffin, Department of Agriculture, specifically the Abattoir. We linking up with Link Promotion for this pork and beer festival.
Good night. My name is Jarrell Ward, Link Promotions.
Good night. My name is Vicar Mills, member of the Link Promotion.
Good evening. My name is Ken Raiwana, a member of the Link Promotion.
Okay, well, let's we spoke about the Link Promotion. Everybody mentioned that. The only person who knows right in this studio here, who knows what it is you. I don't know, and the folks who are listening, most of them don't know. So let's begin there. What is Link Promotion?
All right, well, the Link Promotion, it's a group of young fellas from the village of Brick Hill, and we are about community togetherness. Our aim is to create activities that would bring about togetherness in our village and Nevis as a whole, and even in St. Kitts, because we're one federation. So we're about togetherness, and let me just say, we had an event. We had a first event in September, and that was a fun day we had at the VOJN primary school grounds, and that was well in line with our mission as to create togetherness and excitement for the general public. So that's just a nutshell of what the link promotion is.
You got a lot of folks who are in the group. How can people join? Do you include everybody? I know that you said young people, so the old people are not invited.
Well, when I say young, well, for now, it's a group of young fellas from Brick Hill Village. We're not excluding the older folks because we always welcome advice and assistance from older people in the village. But as it is for now, it's more young folks from the village.
So that's
And-
diplomatically saying no. Uh-huh.
Well, but you're welcome to join if you're curious and you want to be a part of the group.
No, just checking.
We-
Just
we
checking the
welcome
rules. Okay, just checking the rules. Okay, how did it come about though? Why did you decided, listen, why don't we put some together?
Well, it all started from Winfest this year. What happened actually is there was a dance inside Dick's Bar, and I saw the group of young fellas bonding together with this shirt. Link. If you on Facebook, if you look at Jarry, you're gonna see the shirt that I'm talking about. That is the original shirt. So I saw the guys with the shirt, and after the dance I approached the guys and I asked them what do you guys think about having a promotional group. And it was said to me that the idea was there already to have this promotional group. So I said, why not we just go for it? Let's just form a group and start a promotional group. And from there, we have been working together. And like I said earlier, we did a function at the VOJN school grounds. That was our first event, the Fun Day. And it was something that the persons in the community would remember. And since it was our first event, we wanted it to be a grand event. So we had things like the horseback riding and the bouncing castle and cricket, and of course the Odyssey band was there performing alongside DJ Justic and New Wave band. So we tried our best to make it a grand event. So that's how the link promotion came about.
So it's primarily Brick Hill Village.
Yes.
I'm trained to notice things that are interesting. So I noticed that we have 5 people here and they're all males.
Yes.
Is that by design?
No, it's not.
No.
Well, let me just go further and to answer a question that I'm anticipating.
Okay, you're something like Marvin then. You can't tell what I'm going to ask or say.
Yes, we have
Okay.
we have a female in the group.
Mhm.
For now, it's just one female, a part of the group, and we're not excluding the females. So if you are from the area, or if you just want to be a part of the group, you can just contact us. The leader, as it is Jarif Jeffers, right here in the studio.
Mhm.
So you can get a hold of him and let him know you're interested. He's not just female. If you're male and you want to be a part of the group, you just let us know. If you want to be a sponsor for the group, however you want to assist the group.
I'm not complaining, big. In fact, I'm more congratulating because we keep making noise and complaining, saying that what happened to the young people, young boys, the young men.
Right.
Then so it's a plus. and I'm very pleased and excited to see that we have 5 of you and they're all males doing something positive and stuff like that, right? But be advised that you said if the ladies want to come, they're welcome. They will. Yeah,
No
they'll come for a certain amount of spots. They will you know that, right? You're aware of that? You're not. Nobody wants to answer me on that point, right?
Welcome them to join the
You-
group.
Right,
and
but you
assist in whatever way they can.
to join and assist. just check in. So that answer is deliberate too.
Pardon?
That answer you just gave is deliberate. That you welcome them to join and assist.
In whatever way they can. with our projects.
I got you. Well,
Well-
yeah, yes.
Well, before we go any further, we just want to thank Gary from the Agriculture Department. He is on board with us for this Pork and Beer Festival. So we just want to say a big thank you to him for assisting us thus far and for coming here tonight and being a part of the program.
Okay, we're gonna get to Gary, but we have Jariv, and then we have Bali, and who's that right over there? That's where Stanley sits. You know Stanley.
The heavyweight.
You never heard about Edric Stanley?
Heavyweight.
He's a what's your name?
Wikel.
Okay, Wikel. So Wikel, how did you get involved, and what do you think about the group so far?
Well, I think there are a lot of things ahead for us within this group. Because as you can see, as you said, young fellas,
Mhm.
you hardly see this anywhere.
Right.
So I see big things ahead for us, and like as Bale said, we this group, like we were at this dance with our link shirt, and he came to us and said, yeah, why not start a promotion? Because he realized everybody is together, and nothing beats that.
Okay, so you thought it was a good idea as well.
Yes.
So you're in.
Yes.
You're all in.
All
okay.
in.
Okay, very good. And next to you there,
Jadel.
Jadel. That's a heavy name. You can remember where you got it?
My mother.
She gave you. She told you she gave you,
Yes.
and you believe her.
yes.
Okay, Jadel. Well, it's good to have you. So how you got involved?
I got involved because of Jariv. He also came to me with the idea of this promotion group, The link is sort of two groups coming together making one.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he came to me with the idea and I was like, okay, let's get together and make this thing happen. For me, the link is a good idea, it's a great thing for us. Getting to know people, interacting and, just making sure the community is behind us and making things happen. So, for me, the link is a real good organization.
Okay, well, let me ask this because, for years we've been here night after night and we discuss the troubled youth, especially young men. And in every community, in every area, we do find some. And so I think in your community there will be some as well, right?
Right.
Okay, and you think that your group can serve as a good organization for some of these folks to channel their energies in some of the things that you're doing?
Yes, because we are trying to promote positive. So, of course, our mission can help channel their behavior and, put them right. So, I think the link group can do that. So, yes.
Mhm. Well, I got to tell you, and I believe that, other persons as well, but let's say fellas like me, outside of the age group, can always help. So when I was approached, and told about it, I thought it was a good, positive thing, whatever it is. Especially it came from amongst you to do and something positive. So again, I take this opportunity to encourage and congratulate you. Now,
Thank
to the
you.
big event that you're having next, let's talk about that. Let's begin with Gary. And Gary, you tell us how you got involved with them and what your role is. And then we will spread out and go to the others for the more details.
Okay, well, these guys approached us at the Department of Agriculture. We sat down, we had a meeting. They discussed with us what they wanted to do in terms of the pork and beer festival, and we shared our ideas on how we could assist. So I being at the abattoir, where you normally process pork and all this kind of stuff. This is where I came into play. So I'm currently assisting them in terms of getting the animals slaughtered, doing the different cuts for what they want to prepare, the different dishes that they prepare. And also from the department standpoint, we'll be participating there with a booth selling all things pork. Christmas is just around the corner, Weber. So, you know, one of the big things for Christmas is hams. We normally produce local hams at the abattoir. We'll have some hams on sale, as well as one of our latest products, new products, smoked pork ribs. We'll have those also on sale. And these products are already cooked, just good to go, heat and eat. Pork sausages, we have pork breakfast sausage, a spicy pork Italian sausage. We have some seasoned pork roast, and some fresh pork chops as well.
So what that tells me, coming from your department with that sort of support in terms of the quality and the health inspection, we're safe.
Yes.
Absolutely safe. Everything that passed through the abattoir goes through antemortem, before slaughtering, and post-mortem inspection to make sure that the public gets a safe product.
Okay, very good. So you will be there with your products. Now, let's go to who wish to elaborate out of the group, because I don't think we have done where it will be held, and you know, all the details and so on, what will be there, who will be there, and so on. So who wants to do that?
Okay, however, well, like I said earlier, this is our second event, Pork and Beer Festival. So, all pork. The event would be
This
held
might be a silly question, but no chicken?
No.
But it look like it's not only silly, but it's difficult. So it's not
well,
all pork and maybe some chicken.
maybe some chicken.
I
Yeah,
got
we
you.
could talk about that.
So, like I was saying, the event would be held at the Whitehall Hardcourt, that's over in Brickhill Village. The date of the event is the 30th of November 2019, that's this Saturday coming, and the time is 1 p.m. So we're kicking off early, 1 p.m. sharp, ready to go. And what we will be having at that event and what we are promoting hard for that event is something we call the combo. It's a combo special. So with that combo, you would get a slice of the pit roasted pork. We'll be having a pit roasted pork. We're getting some assistance from Hermitage. So we'll be having that. You get a slice of that, and you choose one other pork of your choice, along with garlic bread or Johnny cake and some roast corn, and you'd have 2 beers. And for that combo, you only pay $30. You can't beat that. So all that just for $30. Also, if you're not interested in getting the combo, bearing in mind that we are encouraging everyone to get the combo, we want the combo to go like hot bread and butter. But if you don't want the combo, you can choose from the different dishes we have. We'll be having like grilled pork, barbecue pork, dove pork, jerk pork, sauce, cook up with pork. So everything pork level. You
And
think
some-
about
maybe
pork,
some
you think about
chicken.
the pork and everything. And on the beer side, we have different variety of beers. You come and you drink away. Bear in mind, if you're driving, be safe. We don't want any incidents after. So drink wisely and enjoy yourself. Let me go further and say we'd be having entertainment as well by the Judgment Sound and New Money Sound. I'll turn it over to Jerry where he talk about the extra activities.
Well, yeah, we're gonna have Roy, and the big drum, Roy and crew. We're trying to get the Sugar Hill String Man to come as well. What else? You know, we're gonna have games as well. We have beer drinking competition, the domino competition as well.
And also we'll be having a bouncing castle.
Yeah.
And the shirts, you having the shirts too?
No, not yet.
So the shirts only for you?
Well,
Not
soon enough.
basically.
Soon enough.
Soon
Yeah,
okay,
we're gonna get some
okay,
shirts.
Okay, because you alone can't look that sharp in the shirt, you know. You got to get you got to allow other people to look sharp, right?
Yeah, man. Soon enough. We shot them coming soon.
Who designed that?
We did them at Swannies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Came up with the idea.
The design itself is the man Sky
Sky
Juice.
Juice.
Yeah.
So he don't want to give Sky Juice any credit. That's why I asked him, so he can
I
give
don't
Sky
know.
Juice.
Big up Sky Juice.
One time.
Well, tell them who is Sky Juice.
Sky Juice, he is the owner of Juicy Design. Yeah, just call him anything you want, you get.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you could call him Sky Juice,
Yeah, Sky
and you
Juice.
can call him anything.
If you want to call him anything,
He will answer.
yeah.
Okay. So in other words, he's just cool.
Yeah, man. You know, Sky Juice chill.
Yes. Is he part of the group?
Yeah, that we designer, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
That's very good. He did. I press you on that because he did a design for me once. You know, he's good.
Yeah.
So tell people how they can get in touch. You're afraid to tell people about him?
No, man. Let me pull up your number there so I could call him.
Okay. So there you go. All right. So yes, Raquel. Yes.
So basically, Jerry and K1 said everything about the event. It will be held at the Whitehall Hard Court in Brooklyn. We're just encouraging everyone to come out and support us as a young group.
And you will be there.
Yeah, we'll be there for a short period of time.
But yeah, Sky Juice. If you want to contact Sky Juice, is 663-7324. Any design you want, you get.
Anything.
All right. Well, very good. Is so finally.
On the Pork and Fest there, Pork and Beer Fest there, sorry. We'll be having a domino competition. $20 per player, partners, domino competition. The winner of the competition will get 5 cases of stag beers, and also a financial prize that we cannot give out.
That's it.
You
But
can't
it's
disclose
a
it.
very handsome amount, so yes. So yes, that will be also a part of our.
So they'll get a prize, but you can't tell them what the prize is.
Yes.
Or how
but
much. Okay.
It's a good.
I got you.
Yeah.
It sounds exciting.
We will reveal on the day.
You will reveal after when you open the envelope.
But I can assure you that it's gonna be. They will be smiling.
They will be smiling. Okay. Jawa is a part of this group.
Jawa is family.
He's a
That
part
we
of
brother,
it.
you know?
Part of the promoting team.
Okay. He's part of the promoting team.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, and yes, what else?
Okay, but before we go, we wanna big up the sponsors and some persons who would have assisted us in getting this event up and running. First of all, we wanna big up Adolf Lager Jeffers. We say a big thank you to Lager. He gave us a big sponsor, so we really appreciated that. I really appreciate it. Carrie Brewery, Van Radio, to you Weber, thank you for having us and assisting us. Marvin Hanley from THG Network, Cressy Stanley, Cheesecake Haven, Gavi, Level Up Bar, big up yourself Gavi.
Big up.
Bang, bang.
Big sponsor.
Bang, bang.
Wazim Richards from Kells Auto Rental, the permanent secretary and abattoir staff, the whole of the Department of Agriculture in Nevis, we say thank you. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
The Minister Alexis Jeffers, he assisted us and has been assisting us with this project. So it's a big thank you to him. He also gave us some ideas and so on for the project. So thanks to Minister Alexis Jeffers, Easy Access Graphics, Real Juicy Design, the Sky Juice, the Minister Hazel Brandy Williams, who would have assisted us with some of the things that we were doing early on. Fitzroy Warner from Apex Construction and Heavy Equipment Rental, Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, Virgil Brown, the Food Center, Farron, aka Badger. Badger has been there from the start and is still there with us. So it's a big thank you to Badger. The Ministry of Social Development, Godfather, who would have been assisting with the grounds, the police, the Ministry of Health, Carolee Wallace and Patricia Jeffers. I think everybody know those two are the big chef over there in Brickhill.
Big up your motto.
So a big thank you to both of them, and to all who would have been assisting. We say a big thank you and continue to assist us as we try to make this event a big success. So thank you again to Van Radio.
So you're having the police, so the police helping you?
Well, the police would have given us the permission. We can't have the
Oh,
event
I
without
thought you
permission.
meant with handcuffs and so. not with that.
No,
no.
we're not
Okay.
into those kind of activities.
Oh, just checking. Anyway, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so the police they would be there,
Okay.
making sure everything is safe.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it seems to me that everybody is on board,
Yes.
Yes.
as it should, right?
Yes.
And we want the whole of the Nevis general public also to be on board.
Yeah, come out and support. Come get your cooked pork. Like Gary said, the agriculture department would be there. They have a number of products. You buy your products and you go home, you get them heated, or some of them might need cooking. And come get your nice barbecue pork. And don't forget the combo. That's the special of the day. And remember, it's the slice of the pit roasted pork, a choice of anyone
Any
of our
variety.
dish. The corn, the Johnny cake, garlic bread, and you get 2 beers with that. And you drink beers all day. Come out, support the event, and have a grand time. Entertainment will be there from 1 p.m. sharp until
Until.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, Jadel, I assume that you will invite your mother, especially for giving you that name. Okay. All right. Well, once again, we thank you very much for coming and making us a part of your event. And we encourage you and, you know, keep linking, right?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
A Link promotion. They're having a big event on Saturday. You want to check that out as well. We had Wickel and Jariv and Jadel and Ballet and Gary all a part of the program. The second segment of the program coming up next.
All the hits of today. And memories of yesterday.
Do you mind if I sing one time? Make this Christmas mean something.
Keep listening to Vaughn.
Back in this episode of Thought That Get Results. The first segment featured the Link promotion of Brickhill Village, St. James Parish. They're having a mega event on Saturday at the Whitehall Had Court. So you want to check that out, a Beef and Pork Festival. Second segment featuring the heavyweights. Dr. Patricia Bartlett, good evening. Dr. Patricia Bartlett, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening to my fellow panelists. Good evening to the entire listening and viewing audiences, including my husband there in the UK, and my friends, Anne, Pam, Mr. Martin in the USVI, my cousin Sinwick over there in St. Kitts. I have a few friends here, you know, my Webbo, if I may. I'm just going to call a few names tonight. Every night I'm going to take a chance to just call a few names, and I'll just add on. Tonight I want to say good evening to my good friend over there in Cotton Ground. She knows who she is. And then, of course, there's Vanessa. And let me just stick with 3 this time. And so there's Vanessa, my good friend over in Cotton Ground. And then there's Tampi. Good evening to all you guys. And to my friends, and I did say before, though, everybody, you know, who listening or viewing, but especially the friends I have in the USA, I would like to say good evening to you guys. And all the other friends in the diaspora, I would like to welcome you to this evening's talk show, and I hope that we have a pleasant discussion.
Conrad Naya Liebert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your hard-working staff here at Vaughan Radio, to my colleagues around the table, pleasant good evening, and generally to everyone in tune, by whatever means, to this program. Webbo, I'm happy to be here once again, as we usually gather to discuss the issues affecting the people. Thank you for having me once again, Webbo.
Edric W. Stanley, good
evening, Webbo. Good evening to my fellow panelists. Good evening to the people who listen to us, as I say, continually over the past 31 years, and hoping that you are with us tonight. And remember that this is your show, and as a result, you would be listening, you will be viewing us on YouTube and Facebook. We hope that we'll be able to do justice this evening by disseminating information to you so that we can make our community a better place for all of us to live. And thus, we will carry the show on, Webbo. Please, we are hoping to get your calls. Last week was quite lively, based on the feedback I got, and I'm certain other panelists would have gotten some feedback on the show, as the case might be. As soon as I walked outside last Tuesday night, somebody called me and engaged me, but he told me, I'll give you 10 minutes to get home. So again, this is your show. Without your participation, the show is not as meaningful and as thought-provoking as it should. So we implore you and we invite you to call and lend your support, ideas, whatever you have to contribute, because it is 2 hours, and therefore let us do it together. We have always done it together. Let us continue. Good evening, Webbo.
Okay, we just had a group in there. Let me go to Naya. I was trying to campaign Naya had for you with the group, but they seem as if they are a little kind of prejudiced because based on the event they have it and the content, the meat kind, you know, people like me and you, the Rastafari, you
We'll have to take a back seat, it looks like.
or walk with our own meat kind.
Our own meat kind.
Meat kind. Well, they said it's just pork
Oh, pork and veal.
and maybe some chicken. So, you know.
Oh my. No, nothing about health. Nothing about health.
Well,
But that's okay, I suppose.
yeah, but aside from that, though, I thought that it was commendable because I don't know when or how often you find a group of young men coming together and putting, you know, something positive that they want to do to advance their togetherness in their community and so on. So I thought that perhaps is, you know, was pretty good, a good idea.
Yes, I would think so too, you know, Webo. We need to see more of that in the community, people coming together for various reasons. You know, there are options which sometimes doesn't lead you to a positive direction. So more of that and even more competition between villages in Nevis would really make life a bit more interesting. At least, you know, competition leads to higher standards. And we do have things annually, and I think more community, you know, competition in sports and otherwise, you know. Certainly otherwise, sometimes we'll, you know, especially like I always think about Culturama, and I sometimes think that if we do have little festivals in the villages and villages against village and so forth, we probably would be able to recruit more participants, and in particular more for like the Queen Show and talent show and so forth. It's just an idea, but I think, you know. But I think we are too so locked to the medium of social network and the computer and the phones these days that we don't even realize the value of competition. You know, Brownhill used to have a good team, good netball team, good cricket team, good cricketers, well known for that. Bart, Cotton Ground, you know, but I don't see that happening to the extent it used to, and it really used to bring people together. And that is missing, but I'm not sure if we can ever get back to that for some reason. We can if we work hard and realize the positive in it. We had realized it, I suppose, but we are totally consumed, it looks like, by a tidal wave of institutional control through various mechanisms that affects our life, and we tend to yield to that in you know, because to me it's what we all perceive to be progress. So we're gonna have to untangle that.
Well, it is, I think it's very commendable what the chaps are trying to do, and I would like to get a report when it's all over it, and I would like it to be a glowing report to suggest that there was no untoward, you know, behavior, and it came off, you know, without, you know, incidents. For a while there, I think most people were housebound in that because of the criminal activity, most people, you know, well, people like myself, you know, would want to stay home. But I think now that the atmosphere has been created, that people could feel a little more relaxed, I think it is, you know, a ripe opportunity for us to rekindle some of the things that we used to do that promoted togetherness, because I don't think we have enough of those activities to bring our people together outside of, like, Naya would have made reference to, like, Culturama and, you know, those kind of activities. So it is good to see something like that happening. So fortunately, they said they don't have ginger beer, and I don't drink none of the other beers, so I'm kind of excluded from that one. Plus, they say it's for young people. So, but I hope the young people would go out and have a good time and keep it clean. My admonition to you guys is to keep it clean. And next year we hear you have the second one of the same, you know, the second edition. All right. So good luck on the venture.
Well, they did say the police will be there, so that will help clean it up. So, yeah.
Well, I listened a little while, and I hope that they are able to get it off the ground the way it should. And I like the word link. About 2 years ago, a fellow talked to me for a short while. So I said to him, we will link up. So the fellow said, Stanley, that's a young man's term. So I said, you don't have any monopoly on terminology, and therefore I think it's a good term. As a result, I used it. And now these young fellows have found some real reason to make it work in terms of an organization. And I hope that they would be able to expand it not only from Brooklyn to Newcastle, through to Butlers, through to Zion, the whole island, as they decided, as they have expounded upon the idea. It seemed as though if they've got the right leadership, they'd be able to do wonders with that organization. I mean, we know that the longest journey begins with the first step. They've got some real good sponsors on board, and in that regard, I hope that they'd be able to make or pull in some money, but I didn't hear what they would do with the money.
Buy more beer.
And as a result, I am hoping that somebody in the group is business orientated to the point where they'd be able to understand the participation of the public, the money that they would have received, and begin to channel it into good use. Sure, I do not know what the occupation of all these young men. They didn't state the occupation, but I hope among them there are some business people. And in that regard, having a venture like this, beckoning to the general public, having these sponsors, especially getting donations from Caribbean and the other areas, other businesses, as they would have tapped into, they'd be able to raise a lot of money. What will they do with it, Webo? So next time they come, please ask them, or so that they can amplify it and disseminate the information.
So you don't accept Dr. Batley's suggestion?
Buying more beers. That doesn't go far enough, Webo. What I need to hear is something that is substantive, something that is really creative. Because having gotten contributions and ultimately some money, what are they going to do with it? Because they will go back to these agencies or businesses to get contributions. Again, it is critically important for us to understand what they will do with the money that they have received. And I hope, again, we would have had some businessmen among them, and they can tell us, well, we are attempting to expand this into a business venture to the extent where all of our linkages would link us to that venture that ultimately create employment for even the founding members. And then that would take some pressure off government, as the case might be. At the same time, the best place to be is being a self-employed person where you cut your own paycheck. And all it takes is the idea, hard work, and have a certain degree of focus. And once they are able to put these together, they should be on the scale or the ladder towards some degree of success. The idea is a brilliant one, and I hope it expands to the point where they're able to influence all the other young men in all the various communities, and hence we can rest assured that the ideas of the past, those nefarious ideas, have been buried once and for all. So, congratulations to you young men. It's from Brooklyn. I have some attachment to Brooklyn, and in that regard, I'm hoping that good things would come out of that. Well, they've got the Honorable Alexis Jeffers as part of their program and as a mentor. They've got the lady Hazel Brandy Williams, another mentor. And of course, this would draw into the organization through her other female participants. And wherever you ask a poignant question with reference to age, it's just a number. And I hope that at some point in time, they can look toward you and other people who are a few years older than they are for guidance, wisdom, and ultimately to bring the organization up to the level where it becomes rather productive and serve all our peoples, and ultimately bring about the quality of life that we all are striving to reach, as the case might be. So I must say congratulations to these young men. And it's a bold step. It's the first step into a long journey. Congratulations again. Webo.
Okay, let me just, we probably can get on to some other stuff, but let me just say very pleasant evening to Ted and Mr. Brand. They're not here with us this evening, but, you know, I'm sure they're linked in somehow, you know. So, good night, guys. I know that Mr. Brand is not here for the past 2 weeks, and it's kind of interesting because I got another message for him today. So this is his turn and he's absent, but it's not deliberate, so he will soon be back. And all those messages. A lady came right here this afternoon to give me a message to give him for tonight. I don't normally do it, but I promise I would have done that. So Mr. Brand, you got a message, and don't ask me for it tomorrow. It's when you're here. Okay. Now, anything else we want to put on the table?
The CEDU program, which is initiated by government, and there is another avenue which we are hoping we can get off the ground. But I'm hoping that CEDU, Small Enterprise Development Unit, I'm hoping that they would get through to some of the people coming out of sixth form so that they can become business people. I do not know how great the effort is for the CEDU program, but it is one area where we have to be able to get people off the government's payroll and into the private sector. And based on what I've been hearing, I think they are earmarking up to $100,000 with a certain degree of mentoring for people to be able to get into business, which is maybe this another avenue like the other program, what is it? Where they bring young people onto those who are not working, they find work for them. The STEP program. So I think the federal and local governments are working toward energizing our people, engaging our people, especially the young people, so as to get themselves fully acquainted with the private sector, the business sector, finding things to do, and ultimately become better citizens within our country. I listened to a clip on radio this afternoon regarding the medical marijuana production and licensing, and I think it's in Grenada where they more or less quadruple the annual license take, the fee for licensing the marijuana people who are getting into the fray with reference to medical marijuana. And they have gotten so far up to 15 million. Apparently it was somewhere lurking around 4 million. But 15 million has a good ring to it.
The fee? The fee for what? For a
No,
license?
No, the amount they have collected, that's what
Okay.
I understood.
Alright.
Not from the
Okay.
not from the actual sale of the medical marijuana, but seemingly there might be large enterprises, big companies that have now gone into it in Grenada, as the case might be. Maybe it's Grenada or St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But like I said, that amount of money has a nice ring to it, and I'm hoping at some point in time we can do the research and come up with the right idea as to how we in Nevis can get into it. I am going to try and see if I can find a few people who have the interest in doing it and see if we can explore the ideas and ultimately gain our share, because we can't be the last person.
So you want to plant some?
No.
What do you want to do? How?
To find the people who got the technical expertise.
So they will plant it and you will do the investment?
No,
Well,
let me say this. It is very likely that we might be able to find the investor. It's very likely.
but I'm not, you're disconnecting me. How are you proposing to be involved?
To find the investor. Am I clear?
So all you'll do, you just find an investor and then you get out of it.
Well, what we are attempting to do here is to find ways and means.
What I am attempting to do,
and in that regard,
what I am attempting to do is to get you to
investor.
say definitively how you will be involved. I want to know.
I said to find the investor.
And that's it.
Who knows?
But that's what that's why I'm asking.
I can't tell you. I
So
don't have a crystal ball, Weber.
But
if
I'm
we're
speaking
able to find
about
the
you.
investor,
But I'm
then-
speaking about you. So you don't know as yet.
No, not at all.
You don't know. So you think there's even a slim possibility that you might become an owner of a plant?
I might very well.
Okay.
I might very well become a shareholder, as the case might be.
Okay, well that's
All right.
Right. So the investor that you are looking for might turn out to be you.
Well, like I've said, I might become a shareholder. Currently,
So the answer is yes?
There's an investor, yes. He's here. There's an investor here that I've been rallying
The
with
question
for the past
I
3 months.
asked was,
I think I answered it, but go ahead.
Is it possible that the investor that you are looking for, there's a slight chance, however slight, possibility, might turn out to be you?
No, not directly as an investor, Weber. I might be a shareholder.
So when I buy shares in the market, that is not defined or described as investing?
Well, obviously, but at the same time...
But not with you.
It
So
is-
when you buy shares, you will not be described as an investor?
Well, you know that is quite true.
Right. So I know that is true, so that's why I was not accepting what you tell me.
Well, I'm saying to you, I do not know where and how things are going to pan out. And I told you it is likely
That you will be an
become
investor.
a shareholder or investor.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Can I share something with you, Weber?
Yes.
Well, I was reading today the post-cabinet briefing for November 18 from the Prime Minister. And interestingly enough, maybe Stanley might have seen it, I don't know. It's coming on to the last, second to the last paragraph said, Cabinet is also considering further work of the Marijuana Core Committee and considering commercial ventures which could see the extraction of oils from the cannabis plant. A report from the Marijuana Core Committee will be ready by mid-December 2019. So apparently we're working on it. So Stanley's in good company.
We have to expand our horizon, and we have to explore all the avenues, because we cannot allow something of this magnitude to go upward and onward and we don't get our share. I went down to the area of Indian Castle today, and I saw a vast area where the government had fenced. I think they were planting cotton at the time. I think I saw some sorrel trees in the same area. And I'm hoping that that area might be earmarked to plant some marijuana for medical purposes. For medical purposes, Webo. So we cannot allow this bonanza in New Gold to come forward, and we are not part of it. Well, the Prime Minister has come around to the extent, and everybody's coming around. And we know exactly that Apfria, the company out of Canada, is on the stock market. And they all are raking in a lot of money on the New Gold. So if we have people with the technical expertise here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but more particularly in Nevis, to become participants and for us to get our share, we are looking for avenues for revenue. And in that regard, let us try and explore it. That's my role. Webo.
Yes, okay. Anybody else? Anything? Any other topic?
No, really, but just listening to Mr. Stanley is quite interesting to see how things, and just to have my own personal imagination into how things are going to pan out. Mr. Stanley is connecting the investor. That in itself is a big job and a well-paid job. I'm a bit worried that this capitalistic approach is going to take things totally out of the hands of the local people. Now, I was told a license to produce marijuana, to farm marijuana, is going to be something well over $100,000. So that in itself is saying local people, even though you may come together, you just can't afford it, and therefore the government or going to be looking investors, Mr. Stanley, them going to be looking for another white man to come down, which you know, the color doesn't matter, but usually he's white. And what is striking to me is it looks like they're going to be running huge farms here, and I'm concerned about workers, work conditions, money earned, because we can't introduce a new form of slavery and the people. We got to be very mindful and careful of that. The people have moved away from agriculture and gone into other aspects of occupation. This new thing they're talking about, medical marijuana, to be basically run by big corporation and to a great extent the local being simple a factor of production. We got to watch that very careful. It's interesting that we move from jailing the people who deals in marijuana to everybody running to invest in it. There's no recompense at all, it looks like, as it relates to those who have gone before and went through great sufferation in their promulgation of the goodness of the herb. So I'm not happy with the approach, and sometimes I wonder if there is even an approach. I think the whole approach is to suppress the initiative of local farmers who may be willing to come together, make their own arrangements and contacts, and get into business, as opposed to a total government control on the planting of this herb, and they take care of the channeling and what is derived from it, mostly for themselves, and not for the people and not for the government. Well, the passport sale is over now. It might be over pretty soon, because I understand that there's a television company that came in and did some undercover filming in Dominica, Antigua, and Grenada. I'm not sure if they did it in St. Kitts. And the revelation is taking place at this point in time. So I'm not sure how much we can depend on the sale of passport and so forth. But to me, it runs in the same vein, where we are unable to exist from our own initiative and organizations, and quite willing to put our whole life and existence in the hands of foreign people who we call investors. And I understand that too, I totally understand that. But why? Why we must be always exploited? The leaders that we vote for, I expect them to be very creative in their ideas and thoughts, and to move the people in a direction where pride can remain fundamental to them, and the scorn of exploitation is totally removed from their minds in the carrying out of their duty and the role they play in these investment exercises. So it's a lot to think about, Rebel. I am not totally brainwashed by what Stanley is saying, because Nevis have not really been an agricultural place, really. The soil here is really bad. Marijuana take a lot of land to really make sense of planting it. So let's see how it's going to work. St. Kitts is very much a better place and environment to plant it, because the soil is as such. They have such great portion of land being made abundant from the sugar plantations. But going forward, I view it with skepticism, and I'm a bit worried. Honestly, I'm a bit worried, because I know some of them would just like to run off with the whole thing and enslave the people again, and that'll be cool for them. And our work can't work, won't work.
Well, I would say this, that based on what is required, it can be done in a greenhouse. So the large quantity of land may not be necessary. Stockpen is the area where I visited this afternoon, looking a little further westward.
Owned by National Bank.
And in that regard, that of course tells me it's an area that could be utilized, and there are other areas that could be utilized.
Stanley,
yes.
Let me just ask a question. If it can be effectively be done in a greenhouse, what advantage will there be to have it done here in a greenhouse?
Well, we have limited space, and
let me go over the question. Let me go over the question
the
again.
The advantage is that we would be able to get the small entrepreneurs, as Naya was saying, on board in some semblance, some small way, rather than looking at it from a gigantic plantation of the planting of the herb.
Here's the question again. If
what advantage?
It could be done. So you understood the question?
That is an advantage in my view.
No, you understood the question?
Yes.
So your answer is deliberate?
Well, I'm telling you what I understood the question to be, and as a result, there is an advantage we have being small
You're going to repeat the same answer, but obviously he wants a different answer. Because when he asked for the advantage, I think he was comparing elsewhere. But
Where was that in my head? So therefore,
no, but you're going to repeat the same thing. It's not going to make it any more clear.
No, what he wants to accept.
No, but because he didn't understand the premise of the question. So let him go over it again.
No, I understood. He asked what the advantage is, and I'm just saying that because we are small, it doesn't really mean that the larger places would go the route of the small farmers. But that would be an advantage for us as a small area. Small farmers, they get an opportunity.
The second point that I wanted to bring up, Naya, as you were pointing about the transition now in terms of the acceptance of the herb and the injustices that were meted out. And I was thinking as you were speaking that alcohol took a similar pathway, because not so long ago it was illegal to do the alcohol. You know, they used to do Hammond and
that part is still legal.
right, and hide and got jailed and so on as a result of it, and so on and so forth. So as you were talking about it, it just crossed my mind that alcohol and I suppose maybe other products took similar roads. So it is not something that is entirely new.
Sure.
Just wanted to point that out.
Even the oil can be wrong too.
Well, we're not saying that the others were right,
Okay, good.
but all we're saying is that the others took a same journey where it was illegal to do it, people had to hide and so on and so forth, and then all of a sudden now you have the licensed factories that do the rums and so on, and the state and whoever else makes a lot of money and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to point that out as facts.
Yeah, true.
That is true.
Because we would have come to a period of time when other things would have been on the prohibition list, but science and some other circumstances would have changed and would have accommodated the shift. So we are now seeing that. So if at one point ganja was illegal and people would have been penalized for possession, you can't hold it against the government now because we have progressed. There's no going back to undo that because at that point in time it was illegal. I struggle with it because in church those kind of substances, and there was no science to suggest that those substances really should not have been legal. But the point is they were. As it relates to the morality of the issue, though, I don't understand how you can apply morality to this argument and win. But in church, we don't accept marijuana use, in Naya's religion.
Well, it depends on which church.
Well, I'm saying
because
in Naya's
it's
religion,
accepted in Naya's church, right, Naya?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
As a matter of fact, that's the basis for it. No?
Well, maybe not the basis, but it's a
Not
part
the
of the
basis,
ritual.
but it's a part of the church.
Oh, okay.
That's the people.
But a big highlight, though.
Yes, I mean,
Can't
yeah,
get church without
which
that
is
by Naya, but But I was making the point though that in my church, we were taught, the early teachings, this thing was immoral. But like I said, I just can't understand how, on what basis it would accept that it was illegal, and so the illegality made it immoral. And so now that we have removed the illegality from it, it is now legal. I'm wondering if it would be more acceptable as it relates to morals, and that is a question that I just leave out there for maybe a pastor could call and advise us as to what is it, their church.
Well, it might help you if you can answer the question that if in your church cigarettes and alcohol are moral.
Well, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the church. Let me just take that back. Yeah, I'm not qualified to speak on behalf of the church.
Well, I was just
So I was
thinking,
just
you
making
know.
a little observation there, you know, from my little layman thing. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, I just, you know, put that in as you know, were making the point to just put two similar situations to see how they have been currently viewed, and then perhaps you could have used that to sort of predict how this one may fall.
Okay. Well, maybe that's the fair, you know, approach to it. But like I said, I kind of stepped back from that one because it's getting a little dicey. It's just like I said, a little thing I was struggling with in my mind.
Yeah, this is a light moment, and the differences in people. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. And I'm not that somebody's right or somebody's wrong, but it's just to show the difference, how you dealt with that insertion as to how somebody else would have dealt with it. They would not perhaps retreated. They would have still been going forward. Right, Edric?
Quite so. Once you got what in your head, you got something in your head. Yeah.
No, I like to have a good foundation.
I would say this, that currently there are some big people here, based on the information reaching my desk, who are using it for medical reasons. And there are suppliers who are supplying these people to treat their patients.
Yeah.
And let's say the fellow who got the little spliff, or what do you call it, spliff they call it, on the corner, who probably falls asleep and becomes a menace to society. He's not the one spending the big money on it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The big money is being spent on people who need the...
Okay, just let me take this, Mr. Stanley. Good evening. Thank you for holding. Oh, boy.
Comment on it again, Weber, because you usually get some success after a while.
Yeah.
Flow is not flowing.
Okay. And you know, caller, we apologize for that. We're hoping that, you know, we'll probably get it sorted out soon. Okay, but still keep trying. Go ahead, Mr. Stanley.
So what I'm saying is that based on where we are now, where everybody is, all the islands are attempting to come on board, and they prefaced the whole thing with religious practices, and they're giving them the privilege or the opportunity.
Okay, let's see. Now let's try this again.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello. Good evening. Yes.
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Yes. During your program, okay, and listening, it's similar. You're talking about things like the use of marijuana and like alcohol and stuff, and if it's moral and if it's not. But hello.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, but you're talking about the alcohol and stuff and those that. What about your talk, your conversation into things like insurance and stuff, insurance, bank, and even some of these companies like the insurance with a thing with a company. You take out an insurance or on a vehicle or something, and then when it's time to for you to make a claim, they're telling you about fine print and stuff like that. Or even some of these companies, you know, you buy a vehicle from them, and then when
it has deteriorated.
Or buy as is.
Okay.
So when I think when you're all talking, you know, just looking at something like marijuana, where most of the time, well, they probably the rastas, but we know a lot of big people use it behind closed doors and stuff like that. You should go out and talk to the insurance with this fine print thing where they use this thing to trick people, and these companies too. We have selling vehicles. You know, buy a vehicle and they sell you a bad vehicle, telling you about buy it as is and stuff when they didn't give you a breakout as to what problem the vehicle has. So so it's just keep your talk to just the marijuana and alcohol. I think you all should be broadening your conversation to those stuff like those too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, caller, what you did is what we encourage. What happens, I find a lot, is that maybe it is how we are as a people. So if I decide, well, I'm thinking about ABC, and everyone is invited to share what they're thinking about. Some people say, well, okay, Dr. Badi says, well, I'm thinking about ABC. And I say, well, I was thinking about DEF. Naya might say, well, I don't know why Dr. Bartley got to think about ABC. I think that she should think about... So he has that option. Or he can say, well, I think about GHI, right? So I want people to accept that and understand that when we have a particular topic, we might choose to maybe talk on this topic. But if you have something that you think is pressing and is in the public interest and you like to discuss it and so on, you don't have to bewail what we chose to discuss. You can offer yours and we can discuss it. So it's not so much, because you speak about that, that's not good, and therefore you should speak about it. So I want people to understand, basically, that is our thinking.
Yeah, but if I may, we were in support of what you were saying. The truth of the matter is that we were not really discussing morality. We started off by talking about the marijuana and the potential. I think Mr. Standard introduced it as a potential cash crop, and so we had just veered off, just to talk about.
But it's an interesting area.
The insurance.
No, the morality and
the morality. Oh, yes,
what the caller is saying is very interesting.
Yeah, and of course we can entertain that. I mean, if we don't.
And even what you were saying about the church, how the church will view, morality now that things become illegal.
Right, but I think what the caller was saying at the tail end, anyway, as I understood it, is that rather we, instead of talking about these things, we ought to talk about these fine print for insurance and so on and so forth. And what I was saying was that, we can talk about insurance and the fine print and so on and so forth, but not necessarily at the expense of talking about morality or marijuana. It can be all inclusive. So that's the point that really I was trying to make, and to encourage people to appreciate other person's viewpoint or thinking, and to understand that you don't have to kill their thinking in order to get yours advanced. For instance, there's a gentleman who normally calls. I haven't heard from him tonight because he's on a little finito. And having listened to him for a number of weeks or months, I encourage him to come and be on the program because he has a lot of subject areas and stuff like that, so he can. But he didn't accept. He accepted and then he had to decline and gave me the reasons which we didn't want to make public. But I'm saying that, life, leadership ain't easy, right, Edric? You disagree that it is easy.
I disagree.
And I always say it's not easy. You know, it's easy to talk about it, but, you know, it's not easy.
Thine
Let me get a
own-
quick
thine
break
own
and
self
come
be
right
true.
back. This is Thought That Get Results with Edric W. Stanley, Conrad Nyliber, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Your phone calls on 1-869-469-1616 and 1700. We're back after these.
Builders Paradise is offering a large variety of floor and wall tiles at very competitive prices. We've got over 2 million pieces in stock, lots of different styles to choose from. Whether you're renovating or tiling a new house, Builders Paradise has what you need. Oh, and remember, we are open all day Saturday to serve you better. Call them today at 466-4938.
All the hits of today. And memories of yesterday.
Do you mind if I sing one time? Take this Christmas means something.
Keep listening to Vaughn.
Back in this episode of Thought That Get Results with Edric W. Stanley, Conrad Nyliber, Dr. Patricia Bartlett. Your phone calls on 1-869-469-1616 and 1700. Back to the panel. Any additions to that area?
I don't have anything, but
yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry that Mr. Brand is not here tonight because I wanted to ask a question about, and maybe Stanley could help, because last week I think he was commending the government for passing the Integrity in Public Life legislation and or the amendments to the legislation. I wanted to find out because I realized that there was some little inconsistency between the penalties that were to be meted out if someone were to breach, like if a commissioner were to release information which he shouldn't to unauthorized people. And I think that the penalty in Nevis was like $50,000 or 5 years imprisonment. And when I looked at the federal legislation, the law related to integrity in public life, it was just $10,000 or 1 year imprisonment. So I was just wondering if Nevis people have 5 times as much money, or I don't understand why the discrepancy between what is, meted out at the federal level for a breach and at the Nevis Island, level, it is like 5 times. But Mr. Brand is not here, but I'm hoping maybe Stanley knows a little about it.
Well, I don't think it is different. The Nevis House of Assembly has been given the authority by the Constitution to pass laws. They must be consistent with the federal laws. And I'm not 100% certain, but if the federal law is less than what Nevis is, then there is seemingly some inconsistency. But again, I do not know how the Constitution speaks to that inconsistency, because on the one hand, you've got the Constitution, and on the other hand, you've got laws that are passed in Parliament, which those laws, the Constitution gives the Parliament the power to pass those laws. And if the federal government is going to say 5,000 or 10,000, and the Nevis Island Assembly is going to pass a law that says 50,000, then, like I said, I do not know how the Constitution speaks to the inconsistency.
Well, I wasn't trying to, no, I think maybe you misunderstood. I was just trying to find out the justification for the difference, because obviously in Nevis you can, of course, and which they would have done, pass the ordinance in Nevis, that governs, the operation in Nevis. And I'm not saying I'm not mounting a constitutional query as it relates to that. I was just wondering if you knew what the justification was for this disparity.
The justification, I mean, let's take it from the Nevis end. You have to come clean, and that is why the Premier and his cabinet took the bold step to pass the law. greater the penalty.
No. That has been passed since 2013.
Well, I'm just saying.
No. That has been passed since 2013. They made amendments to it, but it has been passed already at the Nevis Island Assembly level since 2013. And I think Mr. Ami was the one who would have signed off on it, not the present Premier.
Well, I'm just saying
so it's not no bold step. Maybe
the punitive measure that the amendment speaks to should give anybody pause not to violate that law. And as a result, the penalty is astronomical, in my view, as compared to that of the federal governments.
Okay, so when the legislation is breached, what happened after that? Is the DPP is going to take up the case? Or the DPP is supposed to take up the case? Because they don't usually take up cases, as it relates to government. So, I mean, if this legislation really makes sense, we got to really feel the teeth of it when it's breached. What about the...
but the question I'm trying to ask, though, $10,000 in syndicates if we breach, right? Why you want to penalize Nevis people 5 times as much?
Because
5 times as wealthy as...
No, that has nothing to do...
What is it? What's the justification for it? That's all I'm asking.
It's preventative. It is trying to tell you, don't go there. If you go there, that would be the draconian penalty.
Stanley, I understand that. That's why you have penalties.
Right.
It's to tell you, it's to deter you from doing such.
So,
I understand that.
I'm
trying to get...
Well,
yeah, I'm
5
trying
times
to
is a lot,
get
man.
what... That is just a question.
For 5 times is a lot. But I suppose maybe it won't, you know, they would like to communicate it as something that is more of, not importance, but, you know, it would be strike down with such vehemence here in Nevis, more vehemence than it would be strike down in St. Kitts.
Well, maybe I will just reserve that one.
But
Just reserve that for when Spencer is here next week. I'll reserve
I'm
that.
not convinced anybody's going to be penalized on that thing. And if not, it's just a waste of paper. Really, I need information on it, and if anybody can give me really and truly, because the DPP
I don't think it's
doesn't
a waste of paper.
The Attorney General, you know, I mean, I don't know. The other day I listened in news, and the Prime Minister is being indicted, and the Attorney General said, well, I'm sorry, but I had to do my work. And I'm wondering if these things can happen in St. Kitts Nevis. Where does the Attorney General sit? I suppose he's a part of the judiciary, but is he also a part of the legislative or the executive? And the DPP, does it exist? Sometimes it relates to government falling short. The court the other day make reference to the DPP in Nevis as it relates to the case.
The Joan case.
The Joan?
Joan case.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but he made reference to it as it relates to the case with the hotel building the condos on the beach over there in St. Thomas's. The judge wanted to know why is it the DPP didn't take up the case, because the government breached its own laws. So I really would like to see how this would work. It's going to work.
Well,
I'm surprised to hear it's on the books from 2013.
Back to Pat's thing, and I'm just going to throw in a biblical argument. When the 3 Hebrew boys were in the fire, the king said, since they're still in their life, turn up the heat and make the fire 10 times as hot. So with regard to the 50,000 as compared to 10,000, the Premier is trying to say the preventative measure that we are now contemplating, or we have now passed into law, is to make sure it is a deterrent. And you have to think twice, thrice, as the case might be,
So you think if it was, had it been left at 10,000, you think Nevis people, we're that wealthy, so we just breach it anyway?
No, yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with wealth.
But you're just saying the tolerance. I mean,
Who's gonna
the
police it?
threshold, if you say the threshold is for Nevis is 50,000, whereas the threshold in Sikis is 10,000, it seems to me logical if we're going to continue, in that vein, to suggest that maybe people in Nevis 5,000. Anyway, like I said, maybe I'll just take that one back again. Well, tonight I'm retracting other things. I think I'll just reserve the right to bring that up again, if you don't mind, without prejudice next week when Mr. Brand is here. Since no one here seemed to have a reasonable justification or answer for it, I'll leave it alone. But having said that, and I think I was adding to Naya's observations he was making about the case with the DPP was mentioned. And I was just wondering, as it relates to the Joan case, I'm not bringing up the Joan case, this is just by reference.
Dr. Bartlett, let me just take this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yes, good evening again, sir. I don't want to be sounding controversial or anything of that sort, but these things with these laws and stuff that they passed, and so you all on the panel, the lady and you, the gentleman on the panel, you all know how these things work. So saying that you want to see, his work. If you is a Mr. This or Mrs. That, you're big shot. These things are not for you. These laws are not for you. If you breach any one of these laws, your case gonna be there. Your case gonna be there, and the DPP would be asked not to put it on, or the DPP would ignore it until the public forget it. We know that. We know that. If you is a small person, then they make an example out of you, and we know that is how the laws work. So for someone, and you apparently say that he would like to see how this thing is gonna panel out. We all done already. We done already. It's like in certain businesses also too. There's laws passed saying that, okay, no one is allowed to do this or go there. But then certain people pass and then they tell you don't know who may be. And when you trouble them, you get suspended. And then there's a law then they put out a ruling saying that no one supposed to go beyond this area. And then when you do it, when you stop somebody from going there, they say, hey, you don't know who may be. And you get suspended, and we know that. So, sometimes when we on this program and we saying, I would like to hear now, see how this thing goes. We don't know how you go. If you're big, he ain't gonna be in for you. If you're small, then we make an example out of you to show some people that, you see, we make sure that the law is being worked, the law is used, and we exercise in the law. But when the big people think we don't hear about it, good night again, guys and ladies.
Good night. All I would say to that is that it is unfortunate that in this day and age we've, and you find a lot of cynicism out there, Webo, unfortunately, because really sometimes it seems as if, the laws don't work for everybody the same way. And that is unfortunate. But with time, I'm hoping that we'll clean up our acts and we'll start to do right by the people, because it's all about the people. At the end of the day, it should be all about the people. And it's unfair sometimes that, the poor people are the ones who end up in jail, even for white collar crimes that but that's the way it is, as and like I said, I'm hoping that at some point we'll be able to dispense with all this cynicism in the in the society. It's not healthy. Some people just feel like it's not a fair society, and we need to do something about it. And I guess that's as far as I would go on it. But if I can go back to the Joan case, though, I'm just appealing to the lawmakers or the legislators to start to consider legislation, if there isn't any. I'm just assuming that there isn't any, as it relates to the use of the drones in private space. Because right in my neighborhood is where I think this infamous case originated, about the use of the drone to invade someone else's privacy, and I would hate for that to happen to me. That is not a good feeling. You want to be in your and the Constitution gives you that right, and for people to come and invade your space and there's no good reason for, invading someone else's space, like that. And I'm hoping that something would, go on the books quickly enough so that we don't have a recurrence, or if there is a recurrence, then, Naya and I could, get recourse. I know I would have heard on the radio when the people from the Vance Army International would have been given their morning brief. I would have heard that there are laws, I don't know if there are laws or if it was just policy. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But the chap was making reference to the fact that within
aviation rules.
Well, yeah, but you could say what you think it should be, but is it in the law? I don't know. But anyway, I assume, and I take it from him, that that there is legislation that would prohibit the use of drones in the near vicinity of the airport for obvious reasons. And I'm just hoping, like I said, that they could at least visit this, after the drone case. We could use it as a learning experience, putting aside everything else that would have been said, and be proactive in getting laws on the books. This is a new generation, and things like that are likely to happen again, and I would not want to be on the end of receiving, such. So I'm appealing to the legislators to try and get something fashioned soon enough, so that at least privacy could be, maintained and guarded. And I have 2 dogs, but they can't do this aerial thing. They can just, patrol on the ground. So I'm asking, please.
I would imagine that the law is already promulgated. I remember hearing from the aviation people, and also there's a person who is in charge of aviation, and now they've brought the drone as a flying object within the ambit of the law, and consequently they can't do certain things. There is an agency, I'm not sure if it is only the Prime Minister's authority, but there is a fellow who is in fact in charge of that area in terms of aviation, and he has
yeah, but my concern is not aviation, though.
Well, it is, but again, the law is already on the books with reference to drones and what they must not do.
Oh, okay.
But I have to ask you, you mentioned last week that if no woman is on any of the political parties in the upcoming election, you're not voting. And I felt, boy, that is a restriction on your part of your own right to, in fact, take such a drastic measure upon yourself not to vote as a result of the 2 political parties, here in Nevis in particular, not putting a woman on the list or to run. And I will attempt to follow up. When you ask which constituency would you choose to run, in which constituency, if you're so likely to answer, please answer.
Stanley, want to put me on the spot tonight?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you that you.
I said it, and I said without any, as the politicians like to say, I said it without any water in my mouth, because that's how the politicians like to put it. I said if no women are on the tickets of either of the party, I'm not voting, and that is my right so to do or not to do. And I don't apologize for that. I think it is about high time that, this brotherhood thing, this patriarchal thing is broken down. The other day I saw the Premier after they would have met in Parliament, in the Assembly, down at Sunshine, somebody sent me some picture there with this brotherhood, you know, and he's saying he's hanging out with his brothers after Parliament. And I'm like, that is a sentiment that I have already expressed to my Prime Minister, to my Premier. Since the last election, I said, we need to include women. And he's like, well, of course. And I even heard him on the platform saying, you know, they're open for women and all that. And then when I heard how they're treating the same woman inside the party, I got upset. And I'm still not seeing any move in that direction to include women. Women are about 52%, 52% of the population in St. Kitts Nevis. And we can't get but, you know, a token representation. It is ridiculous. And it's about time that change. I mean, I've spoken, and you know, this week, strange, maybe it's not strange, because you have a lot of men out there who understand, you know, where I'm coming from, you know, and men will have come and said, yeah, I agree with you, it's about time women are included. Because we recognize that we could only be better for it. You know, other places recognize, even in Cuba, and you like to always have, you know, negative things to say about Cuba. Even in Cuba, you have at least 50% of the women, you know, the representative of women, you know. I mean, what is wrong with us and this brotherhood thing? We need to dispense with that. I mean, the Premier, when I see the Premier putting up these things, I mean, I don't follow Facebook. I don't follow neither the Premier nor nobody on Facebook. But someone sent this thing to me. And I'm like, really? My cousin in this day and age still bragging about this brotherhood thing? If I were him, I wouldn't put that up, you know, because it's about time he included women. I mean, that is, we're moving forward. You know, we're talking about sustainable development goal, and I've said before, and you know, people already gotten upset with me because I would have said, if we don't have any goals of our own, at least adopt the UN chartered, you know, goals. That said, under these sustainable development goals, one of them is equality.
Okay,
you know?
Dr. Martin, let me just take this. Okay, I'm sorry about it. Please call back. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, you're on the air. Could you go ahead?
Yeah, Dr. Bartlett.
Yes.
You said women make up 52% of the population.
That is what I heard from, well, that is what I read from the last time. Yes, 51 to 52%.
Don't you think women should perhaps be more assertive in forging their way into the leadership of the various institutions, political organizations, and government, rather than being like waiting to be ushered in or being used as symbols? Don't you think women should just listen? We are going to move. We keep the parties going anyway, so we're going to put ourselves into the leadership. And that will be the end of it. What do you think?
I can't hear you clearly, and this is not a cop-out, but women can force. But the thing is, you have force and you have counter-force. I think last week, and I was not carrying any message from a woman, but there was someone on the road, you know, like we like to say colloquially. You know, the word on the street is that this woman in this particular party, she's trying to go for elective office, but they are undercutting her. You know, and I said that it wasn't fair, and I know I'm going to get backlash for that, and I don't care. But women, it's not to say that women have never tried. You know, women are trying. Women are not as forceful, and it is a patriarchal system, and it is a brotherhood, whether you want to accept it as such. But the thing is, they do put roadblocks up for women.
Would you agree? Would you agree? And I'm not quarreling. Would you agree that women are the backbone of the political parties?
Yes.
So why don't they just move themselves up the frame from being the backbone to being the head?
Well,
you have the numbers. You have the numbers. It's just a matter of, you spoke about the brotherhood after Parliament. Then mobilize the sisterhood to get women. The in Barbados, and the leading Prime Minister in CARICOM happens to be a woman.
Yes.
So, I mean, the talent is there. But I don't know if the will is there among the women collectively to put themselves and each other forward to the top. Then the men can't stop it. Then it becomes a partnership rather than just an arrangement. That's my little suggestion.
I accept.
And I like listening to you. I really do.
Thanks. I accept. And like I said, a lot of men out there, they're willing to support women, but I just don't understand why is it these men who are now in position of, I don't know if it's a matter of insecurity, I don't know what their issue is, but I'm saying to them, it's about time, just like you go out and you recruit men, because they do that, I know that they do that. They go out and recruit men to be a part of the political parties, to be in leadership positions. Why can't you recruit women the same way? You know, I'm like, give women a fair chance. In other places, they're even legislating that women must have a quota, you know?
Okay, let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good night, Mr. Weber. And good night to your guests on your program tonight. How you all doing?
Good night. We're doing good.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
I would like to support this decision who's on the program and the platform there, emphasizing about the women playing part in the political world. We see much of it is being diluted within the aspect, especially within these political parties around here. Even though they have ministers of state, as they say, Hillary Brandley Williams is a part of the administration in the New Isle. And we see now that even at the federal level where you see 2 senators from the female aspect, but they still don't have a political role in the pushing of the emphasis when it comes to certain social aspects. So we need to see real emphasis level on the playing field, and I support the 15th article. It's time now these male pluralistic, where the mindset, where they have, move away and let we have a balanced scale. You all have a safe night.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Bartlett.
Well, Webo, I know of women, because I've met such women, you know. I know of women who are willing and who would, you know, if they were given the opportunity, but the truth is that it is stacked against them. And if you don't have, you know, men of good conscience, that, you know, who are willing to open up, then it would never happen.
But Dr. Bartlett,
it's happening elsewhere, and where people they're not doing it, you know, willingly, you know, it is being forced on them, and I think it's about time.
What of the point that the earlier caller made, though, the suggestion he made?
Which one?
In reference to organizing themselves, etc., etc. He seemed to be suggesting that if the avenue that you're suggesting is not working, why not try a different avenue, which he suggests, to band themselves together and get organized? What of that view?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm not challenging the view. I accepted the view, but it's not happening. And I'm
but
saying
it's not happening. But what he's seemingly suggesting, and caller, please, if I interpret you correctly, please call back and correct me. But what he's seeming to suggest is not happening. So therefore, make it happen, if you think it's a good idea.
Well, I'm advocating for it, Webo. Like I said, I've met women. Some people, you know, for various reasons can't participate at different times. But all I'm saying is, though, I'm making the appeal. The women who are willing to come forward, I'm saying they need to be encouraged. They need to be brought into the fold and not be pushed out.
Yeah, I get that. I get that view.
I'm not advocating for no all-woman platform. I'm not asking for that. I'm for equality, and equality means that you have, you know, half women and half men, and
so
I don't mind going into a party that have men in it. I mean,
so in other words, you are not in favor of the alternative suggestion that the caller made.
I never said that I was not in favor.
That's why I asked.
I'm just saying.
I'm asking you definitively a direct question. I understand. I get the view that and the avenue that you have a preference for, or you are putting forth. The caller called in and made a suggestion. I'm just asking you, what is your view of his suggestion? Let me just take this and get back to the question. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert. I got you because I was just about to say something in reference to that same you just made. What I think is happening, right, is that we leave in the section of candidates to these political leaders, or so-called political leaders, and if we be having people at the forefront come to the forefront, we probably will never have a woman. The constituency or the unity is the one supposed to be choosing people who they think is suitable to represent them, right? And not a political leader go out and scout out people and thing, because he's gonna look for either his friends or some guy who he think is a yes man or a yes person. And a lot of time, if you choose the right woman, she's not no yes person, right? And a lot of these leaders, because they're looking for yes people, they're not gonna choose somebody who gonna say yes when it's supposed to be yes or no when it's supposed to be no. So I think the need to put these people forward instead of leaving it up to the political leaders to continue to choose people. And if you leave it to them, we will never get a woman. Or if we get a woman, is one of these yes women that we're gonna get, not the real leader, true leader of the constituency or the community that we want. Thank you.
Caller, before you go, I can engage you.
Yes, of course.
Off of the politics, did you listen the earlier part of this program?
Actually, I joined kind of late.
Oh, you joined going kind of late. Okay.
When I joined, it probably was after 9 minutes to 9 or so.
Oh, okay. But I'll put the basis to you and then ask you a question. Is that okay?
So if
okay.
I'm not giving you to clearly, but I'll try and...
Yes. What happened was, at the first segment of the program, we had a new group.
Yeah.
Called Link Promotions, and it was 5 members on the group, and it was a group of 5 young men. They just form a community group in a particular area.
Yeah.
No women were represented in that group. However, it seems as if it's linking the whole community together. You think you'll have a problem with that? The fact that they're forming a new group and they've come here and no women is represented on the group?
Having a problem would be based on what the agenda is.
The agenda is to bring the community. Yes. Yes.
Of course, it will have a problem, because why would you want to be you want to form a group to make decisions for the community or to suggest things to the community that they should be doing, and you just have one man doing it? Come on, we have women have ideas, just like the lady is saying.
Right, and then
sometimes women have the better ideas too.
Right, and I get you. So then, similarly, if you found that there is a group and only women on it, and they are advancing the cause of the entire community, you will basically have a problem that there is no men on it?
But not just having no men on it, because you just can't say, oh, put on a man, because just for the talk of putting on a man or putting on a woman, you know, you have to, if that person, we got to look for the best people in the community.
Oh.
The person with the best mind.
I got you.
Best mind, best thing.
I got you. I'm running out of time, but I got you, okay?
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's all based on what one brings to the table. And there are a lot of people who want to come to the table and they don't have what it takes to arrive at that level.
You notice
when
what
they bring to the table.
You notice what just happened in that engagement?
Sure.
Okay.
So I have already said I've participated, and I gave reasons as to why I participated. Because you have to have the fire in your belly, the firepower, the intellect, the desire, the whole 9 yards.
The other thing,
and if you only have 3/4 of it, it's not going to work.
The other thing that I would lend to the discussion, based on my involvement and experience over the years, a lot of times we have discussions and we do not include all of the facts. And as we get deeper into the discussion and then more information comes out, then the discussion sometimes take a different turn. And a lot of times you see people don't want to be a part of a discussion or debate is because they know that down the line certain information will come out. I've done this thing for over 3 decades, and there's a reason sometimes, or reasons why people don't like to come forward and answer certain questions.
David fought Goliath. Small stature, but he had the firepower, and he had the strategy to, in fact, defeat Goliath.
So in other words, you're putting an analogy that I can defeat you.
Well, Webo, once you figured it out.
You just said David fought Goliath, and he won. So I'm asking if you just put in the analogy or the parallel that therefore I can fight you and win.
No, Webo, because you're now trying to put yourself in the place of maybe Goliath or David. You choose.
No,
you choose, Webo.
No, I am putting. I'm not putting in this scenario. It's obvious who I am in reference to you.
I'm just saying to you that you have to have what it takes, and sometimes it's not really to win, but to make the point, to prove the point, and also to serve. You have to be able to have what it takes to present yourself and ultimately become victorious.
So you say all that to say is, given a fair chance, women would be ruling this place. I hope that is the last word, Webo.
What is a fair chance? You have to be able to see where the avenue is, make a determination as to whether or not you can get from one side of the river bank to the other. And if you don't think you can make it, and you don't think you have what it takes to make it, you're not going to go.
Okay, Dr. Bartlett, you have the last word.
I would just like to encourage all the women out there, get up, mobilize, and let's make a change, because it's about time. Too many scandals and not enough good governance. Don't hold it against me, people.
This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, taught that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not